What is up, everybody? Good afternoon. It is Monday, November 25th, 2024. It is trading trends today. Thanksgiving week. Kind of tired. Watch my boy Saquon rip it till about, to the tune of like 500 yards, it felt like, for a couple hours last night. He's an absolute beast. It has a lot of momentum. What else has momentum? This stock market. I said we were like a fool. I said we were going to be in distribution mode for about another week or so, at least, just, with a lid on the market, with a 600 lid on it. And it is, effectively what happened. We hit that very close to 601 today, new all-time highs for the market today. Wait till you see the image. But it's, it's bullish here. Home builders, the main story today, obviously Trump picked his Treasury Secretary over the weekend. And, the market had thoughts. Home builders ripped up 4.5%. Retail and bonds were at the heart of it, absolutely, higher by, 3, 4, 5%. We'll look at the charts, and gold, energy, and Bitcoin all suffered, depending on the asset. Bitcoin was down 4% today through the IBIT, and gold and energy got taken out back a little bit, and then they bought home builders, retail, and bonds instead, and new all-time highs for it. It's almost a comical list, but when you have it happen for SPY, it's a lot of other things underneath it. So all-time highs for financials. I'll just take a breath for this. I'll show you a swig of water. Go Birds. 9-2, incredible. First two losses were the first month, and then slope, just kind of like this market. Just telling you. New all-time highs for financials, small caps, IWM, it did it. Equal weight, RSP, the IGV, the ever more important software ETF, IGV, industrials, home builders with massive momentum today, up 4.5%. XLC, communications, consumer discretionary, the Dow, banks, Canada, all new all-time highs today. We're, headed towards, obviously, that, that strong year end I was looking for, even a little bit earlier than scheduled. So let's take a screen share here. Give me a second. Really relate to the photo because I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, this guy's rolling up his sleeves. The bull here. There's I don't know, it looks like missiles or missile sperm or something there, but the U.S. stock market is on fire there. People are just, basically counting their money here, and the bull overlooks the market, and that's exactly where we are. And here it is if you needed to see in writing, if you can't stand my voice. Home builders up 4.5%. Retail, bonds, ripping, while gold, energy, Bitcoin, 4.5% drop measure and new all-time highs for all those indices. I'm not repeating it. So without further ado, let us get to the interest charts and everything else. While I load that up, programming note, Saquon's awesome. Otherwise, let me lower the screen. Obviously Thanksgiving week, I'm going to try to do another video tomorrow, and then I'm not so sure I'm going to have on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Obviously, market is closed Thursday. Have some turkey and give thanks. And Friday, the U.S. stock market closes at 1 o'clock. Today was pretty low volume, below average. Friday is going to be, not a ton of anything. But Bitcoin usually moves like Thanksgiving week. It's kind of a strange thing when you're talking about it with your uncle and your aunts and stuff. It's just how it seemed. Maybe expect to move. We'll look at it. It has pulled back. Everyone thought it was going to pull, go straight to 100 and rip through. I said it was pulled back first. I actually saw a little bit more of a. We'll get into it. All right. So here is the SPY chart. Oh, here it is. So we actually hit that high right on the open. I'm going to round, but it's 600.86 in SPY. Right at 9:30, and they sold it. And we actually traded pretty ugly, in terms of the day versus VWAP, volume weighted average price. Russell was up, 2+%, 2.25%. I was looking at the VWAP here, and the market was just continuing. I don't want to say look ugly because it was still up, even if it's worst moments, but didn't have much legs, I didn't think. We bottomed around 12:30, or right around that European close. And then look at this, ever important orange line. Look what happened. Low volume too, by the way. The day was essentially done after 10 a.m., except at 3:30 p.m. They brought it right back to VWAP. So 597.83. We closed above that for a nice 35 bip gain or so in the SPY. As I zoom out, I was talking about, us still being in distribution mode till about. It's crazy because, obviously look where the market is, you silly goose. But I was saying, through like almost December 3rd, around there. So basically, the end of next week, or the beginning of next week, rather, that we could see any drops at any point to about 588. And again, the lid 600 to 605. I've been saying that. And then you're going to get if you're lucky, you get a trigger to buy. If you get to that 588 pullback in the next week and a half, I'd have to, be really focused, get your spidey senses, set your alerts up, and I'd want to, get in that market because this thing is just super strong. New all-time highs today. That does usually bring, of course, new all-time highs. I'll see if my count and the date and everything changes. Sometimes when that does occur, sometimes it really can have any which way. It can really go vertical and really expand, or it'll basically just go to where we were. So if today was the high was 601, you basically give it maybe another percent or so, and actually that isn't touched with the upper Bollinger Band runs out right there at 608. So potentially we have a little bit more higher. I still think we're between that 590 and 600, 605 range through the end of next week, and then that's going to be your buying opportunity. Okay, I'm still trying to get my breath back after all those tickers at all-time highs today. Goodness gracious, I hope you're invested. I'll tell the folks here on the program here, if anyone's, I'm not making mashed potatoes yet. It's Monday. How fat are we? But I would tell my enemy to be in cash. Okay, so get invested. New all-time highs today. Today's probably hubris for you to think that this is the top in the U.S. stock market. So either get on board. The average American gets a 2 to 5% raise per year. The market's going to do 25 plus 2 years in a row. I think it's probably going to do it again next year. So go ahead, pick what bag you want to hold. All right. So the next one, let me change the screen here. Okay. Boopity boppity. All right. So let's look what really moved here. The home builders, absolutely extraordinary. This was a big rates drop today. You can do your own homework about the new Treasury Secretary nomination, Scott Sand and his hedge fund. But the market liked it. Rates dropped. Let's take a look at the chart here. All right, big candle here. New all-time highs for XHB. I'm not going to really, my target on this, I would rather be buyer than seller. I'm in IYR. XHB has been an absolute machine to new all-time highs this day. My target for this was 123. So it did quite a bit in one day. Don't forget, this was 121 on Friday. So, I was looking for a little bit more upside. Super impressive. That candle looks bullish. And like I said, new all-time high. So blue skies ahead. Maybe to 128, something like that. I wouldn't chase this right here. You had a long time to buy this under 118, and now, it went to 125. So, like I said, I'm in IYR. This group absolutely ripped. XHB is what we're looking at now. ITB also ripped. We'll look at that chart later on a different look back for reasoning. Okay, retail. A lot of retailers were up today. A lot of retailers. I'm in my favorite Abercrombie & Fitch. Been in that for about 2 years now, and it's an amazing NVIDIA-like return. A lot of these companies are, fixing up their balance sheets and really pushing their direct-to-consumer and their digital offerings. So XRT, look at the chart here, new 52-week highs. I don't believe that's an all-time high for this group. Let me see real fast. Boopity, boppity. No, all-time high was back in November 2021. So, but still a new 52-week high. Candle still, looks pretty good here with basically a close of $84. My valuation for this was around 81, 82. So I wouldn't chase this here. Again, you had, my God, you had basically until the election to buy this under 79. And then now it's, even after that, it went all the way as low as 77. And now it's just three. I don't think this gets away from you. I think it actually comes down to 78, 79 in the next couple of weeks. I wouldn't chase it here. I'm an Abercrombie, happy to be in it. Next, we got to look at bonds. They absolutely gobbled bonds up here. Again, inverse relationship, Finance 101. Bond prices go up, yields drop, and boy, did they today. Look at the monster move TLT did in one day, up 2.5. All the ETFs were up big for the track fixed income bonds. The 7 to 10 year IEF, AGG, QLD. AGG and LQD was also going to look at. So all of them are a proxy. So I thought we looked at this a couple weeks ago when it was making a big move. I think it was probably on this bar on the 13th. So before that, let me see. I have my notes. So I thought we were going to base around 89 back then on the 13th. We had gone as low as 89. So, you can call me Nostradamus. Sounds weird. So here, this 200-day moving average is resistance. I'm even going to forgive this little blip in mid-October. But this has been, if I start my clock here, actually, I won't forgive this. I'll show you new clock, and October 17th. So I would give this about a month to 6 weeks. We're coming right up on that. We're actually 5 weeks today. So that level is 93.60. I think this actually, it's interesting. I think what's going to happen here is you see bonds continue to rally, rates continuing to drop, and I think it eclipses this. I think it gets actually closer to about 94.40. It stays inside these October highs. I don't think it's getting a 95 handle, but I think even with the secretary news, I don't care if the president gets a new secretary, like literally, take voicemails or tweets or X's or whatever they're called. X's, strange. $94 I have for value, maybe 95, but not much more than that. So I still think we'll be below our early October prices for TLT. So again, I would expect more rate drop in the next like 2 to 3 weeks. All right, and that probably could propel markets to go higher. I'm anticipating an everything rally. I think a lot of things are looking good. Soon, very soon, like possibly a couple of days. You already saw all-time highs today. I'm talking about a vertical leap that people are afraid of FOMO on this. It's not that expensive. I'll just get in. Because that's what a wise person would do. All right, so the big drops today, they dropped gold. That's totally risk on. You don't want to be stuck holding something. I mean, gold is wonderful, sure, but there's companies growing earnings, retail, all this stuff with markups and company margin controls. Gold is gold, right? And of course, rates dropped. Rates dropped, and this has correlation. So now what with GLD? I think this was quite a big drop. It's still quite I'm in GDX, full disclosure. This group hit the all-time highs gold did. Remember when everyone was just seemingly snorting gold going into Halloween? It's a weird image. But yeah, we hit 258 the day before Halloween, and it just gave back very quickly in 2 weeks, 258 to 236. That's quite a quick move. Here, I think we hover right around 246. I think this is a little bit overdone. I'd rather be a buyer than seller. I think we hover to 246, and potentially, if the market does have some doldrums for the next week, if that's possible, I do think they support this, and it goes to 250 to 255. It's still inside of those all-time highs. All right, but this one sold today down 3%. Energy, of course, this one as well. Not a huge fan of today, down 2%. This group looked really good. I was talking about last week shorting. Halliburton was a good name. I didn't end up pulling the trigger. I didn't like the risk reward. But a big candle. Look at this. It had a nice surge, and my goodness, this basically almost engulfed yesterday's candle. The session before that, this is essentially brought us back all the way down to November 19th. So this is 6 days of trading, essentially, of small gains given up in one shot, one false swoop down 2%. Basically, it's like you give Saquon the ball, he breaks it 70 yards a couple of times for a touchdown. He can do it. He's just our guy. I'm going to rave about him all the time. He is my guy. Okay, so this is still not overdone. I still think this is not a bad spot. I think this heads to 94, where it starts to level. If things start to get a little bit worse, I think it can go to 91. But I do think that 200-day moving average will hold. So for you, let's think as algos are programmed and asset allocation finds this. I think this. I would not be totally short energy, and this is one of the analysis I looked at when I was entering that trade. I didn't hate the overall space it was in. I'd rather be long than short. Again, if someone's preaching an everything rally, anticipating that, I'm not going to get short, a pretty undervalued sector. So people could chase this. And obviously Russell has a potential, holding in energy and financials, and that's a chase catch-up trade. So I'm going to stay away from this. Regardless, as I said, I think this drops to 94 in the short term. And if folks really don't like it, 91. All righty, I'll quantify it like that if folks really don't like it. All right, and the next one I've been calling for. Everyone thought Bitcoin was going to rip to 2 million overnight, and we were all just going to be, in Singapore or something, having Chablis. But so what happened is, and you got to be long. You're absolutely out of your mind if you're not long this tulip mania. But so my value for this, as I said, like last week, was around 52, 53. Look what happened today. Overnight from Friday to today, we went from 57 to a close of 54. I still think this has to calm down. It's just been on the treadmill, just honestly pushing out new PRs since November 8th. We talked about this last week, that Bitcoin can be overbought for about upwards to a month. I mean, you're looking at strictly through this. IBIT did it from February 27th to March 13th. That's 2.5 weeks. And then this go round, we did it for 2 weeks and change. So how much farther does it come down? It was an uglier trend here when this in March, when it mean reverted, essentially put in 3-month lows, and it broke its 20-day moving average, started to go steady, and then went higher. My value for this is, down to about $48. I think is where we get to. I don't think it's that bad because I think the train has sort of left the station on these Bitcoin prices. But I do think you get to, so where was the election? Right here. It went to 44 the next day. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see those levels. I think if things get really nasty, a crazy sell-off, you wake up and it's down 20% or something, then you can have that cascade to 41. I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, next 2 weeks or so, I would be careful, unless we get a massive everything rally. I think this pulls back to about 48, does IBIT, and today looks like the first step. All right, top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. Also, if you have a ticker, if you want to put something in the chat, excuse me, I will do that. All right, top 3 gainers of the past 5 days, no repeats in charts. So the whole Kennedy backlash when he was announced as, I still like calling it health czar, even though that's not what it's called. But ever since he was announced that, the whole health care group and biotechs got absolutely slaughtered. If you were sniffing out when it was getting oversold, this was one of the best ways to play it. Also, you had a tilt to ARK because Cathie Wood runs both. So the lows came in this November 19th. That's when, quantitatively you capitulated on the Kennedy fear, as it were. And the low there in terms of price measure was $22. We've now ripped $25 all the way, 11.5% in a very short amount of time. Well, now what? While the chart doesn't look, amazing, and we're headed towards that 200-day moving average. This was similar with nat gas. I used to have a perspective, but it started to break it here in the spring. Whenever ARKG used to get to the 200-day moving average, it used to, and then you saw it reside here or happen here, it used to get rejected and immediately start to go lower. Very similar to nat gas. And then it had this little oopsie here on Veterans Day, November 11th. And now we seem to be headed towards it again. What I think is going to happen is this group up 5% today alone. So this is continuing to surge. It's a place to be. I own an individual biotech, and it's one of my largest positions. You take crazy calculated risk with those things. But if you're playing it through this ETF, ARKG, I think it actually heads towards $27. So I think it actually gives us another one of these oopsies right around where my cursor is. I think it holds inside of those November highs. And I think it goes to right around where I have my cursor here. And it's been a really bitter, tough level for this group to hold. Like 20, if you're looking at this, I mean, exactly the top 2790 has not been able to hold it since April. So this is at, in an 8-month, which is also the range that Bitcoin did nothing in for 8 months, but at least it was holding above its averages. It was at least just basing. This is, putting a new 52-week low 6 days ago. So as I said, I think this moves towards 27. That's another, $2 gain, or what is that, 7-8%. So I still think more money to be made in this one. And then I think potential, I'll take a look at it, see what the 200 days moving. I assume or presume it's going to be flattening if it holds it for, depending how long that oopsie is. So we'll see on the ARKG. That rhymes. All right. ITB, I'm not going to go too much into this because we just looked at XHB and the charts are very, very close. One of the differences is XHB has more momentum. The home builders hit new all-time highs today. Home construction is still not even at a 52-week high, although it looks destined to hit it within a couple of days if this keeps going. My full valuation target for this in the short term was 125.5, so it's already gone above it by $1. A nice looking candle though. I don't, it might have another maximum $2-3 to go. Like I said, I'm in IYR, but I wouldn't chase this here. Overall, a great looking chart. There's a catch-up trade. The home construction versus the home builders. I don't. If you want to play one that's slightly behind, it's home construction, but they've had very, very, very close returns. The home builders have seen slightly better returns. Okay, and then this one, best performing chart in the past week, ARKG up 11%, past 5 sessions. Next is the ITB, what we just looked at, up 8%, and then right behind it, nat gas, up 7.5%. I'm short this garbage. So let's see, today up 3 1/3%. Let's take a look at the chart. I was just aforementioning, what this piece of crap does when it gets to the 200 moving average. And here it's a lot prettier. You could see it. Did in October, Dikembe'd. Here, November 21st, Dikembe'd. Here, it got a little bit off its skis a little bit on June 11th for a 1 day, and then got Dikembe'd massively. Dikembe'd. Even here, we're at the 52-week high. 2 days later, Dikembe'd. So here, that important Dikembe level is what we're going to call it, because I'm going to call it right now. I just thought of it. 1544, and right here the close is 1490. Yeah, I think this is headed towards 1385 over the next couple of weeks. I'm in January 14 puts, so I'm happy to be in those. And I think my ultimate target on this is new 52-week lows, about $12. When we get that everything rally, which I think is going to happen, I don't think they're going to be flocking to garbage like this. That's looked extremely heavy since we were having, last New Year's Eve champagne, essentially. All right, so this one's a dog. I am talking my book, but I'm also talking this chart, and it's a woof woof dog. Barco. Rocco, can you bark? We're having a little silly and fun. It's Thanksgiving. He didn't bark. He doesn't bark on command. He's really extra useless. His head is very small, but he's adorable. All right, top 3 losers in the past 5 days. I'm in this one, and this one's been not so swell. FXI down. So again, in the terms of the magnification of this, I'm talking about the biggest winners of the week. It's been totally risk on. We have all-time highs today, for goodness sakes. ARKG up 11, ITB and Nat Gas up 8. When I have to look at the losers, the biggest loser is China down 3. Okay, so up 11, 8, down 3 in the grand scheme of things, not horrendous, right? So I'm in this one. I don't think this is a massive oopsie in terms of I still think the 200-day will hold down here at 27. I think this is an oversold buy. Literally oversold as in under a 30 RSI. But to me, I think I trust this level. Again, here is where they announced that stimulus. You're at that level now. So a lot of people economists are saying that's going to take them a lot longer and more stimulus. Of course, go figure. But this is the price where it was announced. I think you get a nice little mean reversion pop when I'm talking about that. Everything rally. I think this gets to 31 over the next 2 weeks or so. So I'm still long this. Not a pretty position right now. But I think it heads to 31. I think it gets that, basically closes that gap up again since when they announced that stimulus. I think it makes that similar move in about 2 to 3 weeks, move to 31. And if things get exuberant, I think it can go to the top Bollinger Band 33, which is where we were on November 7th, 2 days after election, even after, Trump won. He's not the most China-friendly guy. Those are levels we still traded to for one quick second, and then it went lower. So that's my call on China. One of the biggest losers this week. Next biggest loser right after, silver down 2.5%. So again, small moves, especially for highly volatile areas. We're talking about the monster gains in home construction, ARKG. So totally risk on. 52-week high for silver back on October 22nd at $32. We're back here at 27. I think this is a little bit overdone, down to 3% today. I think this gets to 28, 65, thereabouts, right around here where my cursor is, where this confluence is of moving averages as well. And it looks like it was support back here in October and where that gap was on November 8th. So I think over the next week or so, I think this has a little bit of a move towards 29, 28.65 to 29, and then a drop towards 28. All right, so I think the silver could, you could have a nice move up to, like I said, another $1 or so. So that'd be a nice 3% or so. But as I said, rates a lot lower today, and 7 to 10 years, especially that part of the curve. Gold dropped 3%. This dropped 3%. So you sell metals and ask questions later when you get that kind of rates move. And the next one, I really had to squint for this one. So China down 3% in the past week, silver down 2.5%, and the third loser. Does anyone yo quiero Mexico EWW? But it's down only 1%. So it's not the end of the world. That's literally your third biggest loser in the ETF space. So not bad. This thing is a pig though. 52-week low, November 6th, the day after the election. Since he's not the most. I think he wants to ship tens of millions of them out of here back to Mexico. So $49 was the low struck on November 6th. I thought it would base around 48, half 49. If it's just not a great spot to be in. This chart looks really ugly. I don't like its chances, but on a mean reverting pop, I do think this gets to, it's at 50.30 today, up 30 bips. I think you can get as high as 51.5, and then that will probably be your way to sell it. Maybe 52, and then you want to exit. All right, so top 3 absolute trades of the past 5 days. If you were long ARKG, biotech space, 11% in your pocket. And then second best trade, long home construction, 8% in your pocket. And then long nat gas, 7.5% in your pocket. All right, that is it for today. And we will do a video tomorrow and then probably not after that. Peace, y'all.